Hey guys, it's Derek with Blue Collar Chess. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to start creating a repertoire using Lichess. Lichess is a great website. What you do is you create a study. You can then take that study, you can then add that to Chess Tempo, so you can create an opening file, and then you can take the lines that you want to practice and drill, and you can put that in Chess Tempo, and you can practice and drill them. So it's really, when I was learning chess, I didn't really have that as a tool to learn openings. It's pretty amazing to be honest with you that we have this type of stuff nowadays. So I'm envious of you you youngins out there. So I'm going to look at the Sicilian Alapin. So what I did was I went to Lichess Studies. Okay, so you go to Study, and what you're going to do is that you're going to hit this Create a Study. And then it's going to walk you through on, they're going to ask you what you want to name your study, that type of stuff, who's going to contribute to the study. All right, so I'm just going to, at this point, go to My Studies. And then I'm going to pick the Alapin one that I just created. And I'm going to go to Chapter 1. And I'm just going to put, this is Knight F6 mainline. So I'll show you what that means. And after C5, which is the Sicilian. As you can see, I'm going to walk through the database real quick here for people who don't know or are just a little unfamiliar with it. Up top here, right here where the green toggle switch is your engine. Okay, so you can cross-reference everything that you're looking at with a computer evaluation. That's a very handy tool. Again, not something that I had back in the day. All right, so now you got something like. Here you have the master's database, you have the Lichess database, and you have the player. The player is you or somebody else that you found on Lichess, and you'll have their games, so you can add them to the player database. But anyway, so I primarily use the masters and the Lichess when I'm learning an opening. So the opening I want to learn is the Alapin. So the Alapin starts with E4, C5, and now C3. Okay, so you have got, in this position, you've got Knight F6, D5, E6, D6, and G6 as all viable moves. Okay? For right now, I'm going to recommend not creating a line for each one of those yet. Build it organically. Okay? So we're going to look at the main line. So in the master's database, the main line is Knight F6, followed by D5 and E6. There's enough games in D5 that I would just call that the D5 line, and Knight F6 is its own line, okay? Now, let's go to Lichess database. So again, it's Knight C6. It's got 3 million, and D5's got close to 3 million. And so it's the same. Oh, I'm sorry. Knight C6 has got 3 million. Knight F6 has only got 2 million, and D5 has got almost 3 million. So in the Masters, let's see where Knight C6 is. So Knight C6 in the Masters is way down. I don't know how many. There's so many moves before that one. So normally I would say you wouldn't need to look at that. However, where that is something you will be seeing in the Lichess database, I would say that has to be a line that you have to look at because it's showing up a lot. It's probably transpositional on some level to something. I don't know. It won't be my main line. I'm going to basically model my main line after the Masters, but I will have a chapter devoted to Knight C6, so I kind of understand the ideas, the transpositions, and that type of stuff. All right, so after C3, I'm going to play Knight F6, and then E5 seems to be the main move here. Sure, you could play something like D3, it looks like, and I'm sure you're going into some kind of slow system of something. I don't know. I'm just going to play E5 because I want to learn the main line. He's going to play Knight D5 because otherwise he'd be going back to G8, and what's the point of doing that? So here, I have played the Alapin before, and for the longest time I've been playing D4, and I'm not always crazy about the positions that I'm getting. So I'm seeing in the Masters database with 9,000 games, you got D4, and you got Knight F3 coming in second, and I think knight f3 and bishop c4 are going to be my choices. You even got g3 here, so you could play g3, I suppose. Do some sort of probably strategical type of fianchetto type thing. I'm not going to look at that, though. I'm kind of interested in it, but I'm going to go to the Lichess real quick, see what Lichess says. d4, knight f3, bishop c4, c4. Yeah, I don't think c4 is a good move, to be honest with you. I think I would stay right away from c4. Bishop c4 is probably fine. Knight f3 scores the best out of all of them at the level parameters that I put in. So I would say I'm gonna do knight f3, and then the options there are knight c6, e6, and the masters is knight c6, e6 too. Yeah, d6. So yeah. And if you look up here, you got knight c6, d6, e6. So it's all the same moves, are the basic moves. This b6 thing, do you need to look at that eventually? I think the plan there is probably pretty easy to know what they're trying to do. You're going to play bishop b7, or they're going to play bishop b7, and you're going to need to kind of try to either trade that bishop off, or you're going to want to make it so the bishop doesn't have, so the bishop's not doing anything, right? So it's kind of your plan there. So let's take a look real quick at knight c6. That seems to be the main line, and then bishop c4, and that's what I was thinking too. So bishop c4, knight to b6, bishop to b3. You play bishop to e2, but I like bishop to b3 better. d6 here. Yeah, but d6 makes a lot of sense. What else is there for moves? You get c4. Yes, I think c4. So the computer was saying d6. The most played is c4 in the Lichess database. The most played is c4, d5, and d6. All right. So those are the moves you want to look at. So after this, I would assume you should have d6 in there too. Like your database will be kind of, a bunch of different ideas. I'm going to promote this variation. So d6 will be a sideline. So c4. So obviously you're going to play bishop to c2, and then again their options branch out. So queen c7 will be the main line, and you're going to want a branch for d6 and a branch for d5, which are probably transpositional. Don't have to be transpositional, but probably are transpositional. Yeah, I would say, because if he plays d6, obviously you probably take it, or queen e2 maybe something along those lines. Yeah, so it'd be transpositional. All right, so here I would have to spend some time looking at these two options to decide what I like best. So here, say they're saying e takes d6, computer's saying e takes d6, but queen e2 is a move. Queen e2 seems to be a pretty, it's only 4 games, so they don't have a lot to go by. Let's look at the Lichess. The Lichess, yeah, it looks like black's doing a little bit better there. So it's probably maybe it's a little bit easier for black to play. So let's look at e takes d6. I'm sure it's clarifying something. Yeah, it's going to clarify the pawn structure here. And now you've got castle, knight a3, and queen e2. I like knight e3. Yeah, I think knight e3 would be my choice. b3 may be something you want to look at too. So let's see. It's knight e3 is number 3 here. White's not doing great. They're saying castle's the best move, so maybe I should look at castling. Lichess is castling's the most. A very good win rate. d4 does not have a very good win rate. h3, even. b3 has a pretty good win rate. So I would say, yeah, castling and b3, and knight a3 has a slight win rate to it. So yeah, so let's do castling. I'm assuming bishop g4 is going to be the most common move here. Yeah. So bishop g4, pin the knight. And you've got stuff like rook e1, h3. H3. What's the old attaché? Put the question to the bishop. And you're going to play bishop h5. Makes a lot of sense. And now you've got rook e1, queen e2. So you have an A4 idea here. Actually, the computer's come up with A4. So by looking at this, so here we are. We're in the Masters database. There's been over 100 games. And we're looking at kind of a newer move, I think. A move that hasn't been played much. Yeah, let's go to Lichess. Yeah, I'm not seeing A4 here at all. So A4 is a computer move, of course. Oh, A4 has been played 164 times. So, I don't know if that means there's 164 cheaters out there, or what, or they're just looking at this line. And so let's take a look at Masters. Let's go to A4. Let's just look and see what the ideas behind A4 is, and if you like it, you stick with it, right? So there are no games. So this is going to be mostly Lichess database and your own brain and the computer, which is good because that means you're playing chess. Can they castle queenside here? I can't imagine castling queenside would be all that great because you're going to play b3. You're going to have that open file. So yeah, no, this is pretty interesting. So probably knight e5 would be the most testing. So they're saying e6 is the most common move. I would say knight e5 is the one you're going to have to look at the most, though. So e6, it looks like you're doing fine. So you definitely put e6 in there, but you got to look at knight e5 because it's challenging this knight. All right. So so again, you got g4, and you open up your king that way, and you probably survive that, but you might be defending for the rest of the game. And you got bishop e4, which is an interesting idea. Now, can they kick that bishop anywhere? Would be the question, I guess. Fairly hard to say. Yeah, so again, so sometimes when you're looking at openings, you're going to have to use your own brain. And I do recommend kind of like stopping your opening lines a little bit before this point. However, we got to this point because we found a new idea. So you're going to have to work through some middle game positions. The computer's saying everything's dead even. So if you're going to choose a line like A4, you really have to take this position, figure out what moves to make and why you're making those moves. So if knight takes F3, bishop will take F3. Then if bishop takes F3, which is all the best moves, queen takes F3, and then queen to D5. So everything's kind of petering out a little bit. You can take D5 and go to E2. You can play A5. If you play A5, they're going to take your queen first. So you're going to take back with your G-pawn. So yeah, so I would say you got to watch out. So this is probably the most testing line, right here. And it's probably going to be a somewhat drawish game, is what I would think. Because you probably have a couple ideas. You've got, I'm assuming you're going to possibly win that pawn. Yeah, look at queen takes d5, knight takes d5, then probably knight e3, right? Yeah, knight e3 is a move. Yeah, let's look at knight e3. How does he protect that? He goes to, yeah, what's he do? Rook to c8. Then you play d4. Yeah, okay, so d4. So if he takes en passant, fine. Rook goes to d1. Pawn stopped. You got to put your bishop somewhere. You're in a pretty good position there. It's not too bad. Yeah, so this tells me like this line isn't terrible. Because this is probably the best line for black. So black has to find a lot of good moves there. So if you want to try a4 and have a unique repertoire, that's what I would do there. All right. So anyway, so again, I'm not here to give you like a full repertoire or anything like that. I just want to show you how to use it, how to think about it, using the computer as a tool, using the Lichess database as a tool, the Masters database as a tool, and yourself as a tool. All right, guys, this has been Derek with Blue Collar Chess. The next video that I do is going to be taking a file from Lichess and putting that into Chess Tempo so that you can drill the lines. I've already done one, but it's kind of obsolete now, and I'm going to do another one so it's a little more coherent. And yeah, there you go. All right, Derek Blue Collar Chess. I hope you enjoyed this video. Talk to you guys later.